Okay, welcome back everyone to our third episode. In episode 1, we looked at the nature of hybrid and multi-cloud, and in episode 2, we examined some of the advantages but also the disadvantages. So in this episode, I want to explore Azure Arc. So John, can you go and what is Azure Arc?
Hi, Leon. Yeah, sure. So Azure Arc is it starts off really with the connected machine agent. So we've got the architecture of how that works together. So Arc will allow you to connect to different virtual machines and Kubernetes clusters being hosted within other environments other than Azure. The connected machine agent will basically create a connection between the individual VM and connection back to Azure. And once that connection is in place, information gets passed across by the agent to say, here I am, this is the location, this is where you report back to base, basically. And this is some of the data that it will capture. So there are 3 different services within there. You've got the HIMDIS, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but the hybrid instance metadata service. So what that is doing really is managing identity, so making sure that that's correct, but also keeping a heartbeat. So making sure I'm here, I'm alive, everything's going on. Next thing we've got is guest configuration. So this is another service that's important that we can talk about with that it will look at what are the policies that are applied around this virtual machine and do they comply. And then depending on the settings that you've got, back at base within Azure, some actions can happen from that to either correct or report. And then the last one is the extension manager, and this is the real sort of value add. This is the one that basically allows you then to deliver loads of different virtual machine extensions that are available throughout Azure for VMs within Azure, that allows you to start dropping in some of these additional services that really start to add value no matter where your services are.
Okay, so that's interesting. So I like the fact that it's agent-based. That's not dissimilar maybe, so that's not a perfect analogy, but something like having the Defender client on a machine, and it doesn't matter where that machine is located in the world, it is communicating with home, and so security go and get that visibility of the security of that endpoint. This is obviously pulling in a lot more signals than just a piece of antivirus software, bringing all that data centrally to be able to have that command and control. So in many ways, this seems to address some of the limitations and challenges from the previous episode, where actually having a consistent control frame that allows you to have a consistent insight across environments would seem to be incredibly valuable. Can you delve a little bit more into sort of how Azure Arc and Azure Arc Enable Server will allow businesses to gain those insights and those advantages?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the kind of the reporting back, it's like you said, it gives you that ability to then start to take all the work that you've done, all the good work you've done within Azure for all your environments, all the IaaS servers that are sitting there. You would have created policies. You would have looked at things like configuration management and making sure when something moves out of line, it's either reported or a change is made. Again, we've worked in IT for a long time. We all remember what it's like rolling out, security software. You always get a problem with a machine that isn't patched or doesn't have the service running, or you haven't, someone's missed an installation. Arc, as an agent sitting across all those machines, will pick all of this up and report that back to you. So it really is a great way of making sure that all the hard work that you've done within Azure, all this kind of the policy work, the configuration work, and all the things that, from a monitoring standpoint, all the information that you've got that is great. You no longer got, somewhere else you need to go and look. You've not got to look on an individual basis. It's all in one place. It's all within Azure, one pane of glass for your environment, whether that's, sitting on-prem. We spoke earlier, in one of the other episodes about, there are some services that you will probably need to leave on-prem. There may well be, servers sitting in another cloud provider that you need to report on. And it just allows you to bring that all into one place, apply all the good work that you've done, and make sure there are no gaps across your infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. So can you just touch on some of the network dependencies to enable Azure Arc to work?
Yeah, this is really, they've sort of done a great job with this. So in terms of connectivity for the server back to Azure, there are lots of different ways to do it. Direct connection over the internet is one, or via a proxy. So within something like a VMware environment, you'll have an Azure Arc bridge, a gateway, if you like, that will sit there and will allow communication between the servers that are on site and that bridge, and then that bridge will report back into Azure and get the information that it needs to be able to deliver things like different agents and different information. You can also go over, if you've made the investment in Azure Express Route, which you may well have done as part of a migration, and certainly if your hybrid approach is over the longer term. So if you're looking at a multi-year kind of migration into Azure, you're not on a burning platform. You don't need to get out, in quick time. Express Route's a good investment. You can send all your traffic over that as well, and the same for VPN.
Okay, that's wonderful. So thank you very much, because I think this has been quite insightful, that we've looked at some of the challenges in the previous episodes, and you've highlighted how actually Azure Arc can help address some of those challenges. So we'll pick up more in the next episode, but for now, John, thank you for your time.